Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the show this week. Happy Monday to you. Happy Monday. You know, I love Mondays because we're going to talk to some great people. You never know who you're going to meet around here on the show. This week, we'll be talking Rock for Dimes. If you love rock and roll and you like supporting the March of Dimes, it's going to take place down at BrownStones. We'll be talking to Dennis Ullman coming up in just a few moments. And we'll have our monthly visit from our friend Dave Brown, the executive director of the United Way Sarnia-Lambton. Got some very positive updates for us. And then we're going to talk some comedy. We'll take you down to the Imperial Theatre. The next performance coming up there is Looking. What's that all about? We've got a couple of the performers that are going to talk to us. All right, but first, thanks for watching, everybody. You'll notice a few little changes around here. I kind of make things look differently once in a while. If you're watching this live, this is pre-recorded live today. And still make your comments. I still will react to your comments, but I had to kind of make this work a different way this week. So we're sort of live. Does that make sense? We can be sort of live. All right. Well, let's go talk about the Sarnia Sting. Boy, they're having some tough times right now. Of course, they're in the playoffs against Saginaw, but not off to a very good start, losing the first two games in this game series. Started off their first game losing 6-3, and then most recently 5-1 down in Saginaw. Now, of course, they're going to come back here this Tuesday and Thursday, so they're going to have second chance to get back in the game, so to speak. The Sarnia Sting have been somewhat up and down all year, but as I've been saying, they have a no-quit attitude. It's still possible to see them move on to the next round of the playoffs. So go online to sarniasting.com, get your tickets for that, and see some exciting hockey and come out and support the Sarnia Sting as they take on Saginaw next game Tuesday here at the Progressive Auto Sales Arena. And, of course, myself and I believe my friend Jay Peckham and Jake Chersky will be joining me pregame and intermission updates as well. All right, well, you've heard me talk about it before, but Sarnia Sings comes to the Imperial Theatre on May the 2nd, and some more announcements coming out about who's there. We've got Michael Van Hevel. Of course, you heard we have Max Major from K106.3 is going to be singing, and somebody else coming up pretty soon. I didn't ask if I was allowed to say this yet, but I'm going to tease you about it. We'll mention it later. I'll get a hold of Adam and find out. There's a really cool one coming out. I just don't know if I can say it yet. You're going to be surprised. All right, so go online to imperialtheatre.net, get your tickets. They are on sale now, moving very, very fast. Ladies and gentlemen, this event will sell out. The first year this was put on, there were only 10 seats that weren't sold. Last year, it sold out. We're expecting that again. I'll be your host and MC again for that evening. And, of course, Sarnia Sings supporting mental health awareness and suicide prevention here in Sarnia-Lambton. Adam Dumond, who is the inventor, is that the creator of Sarnia Sings, doing a fantastic job. Got lots of great sponsors in there, including Royal LePage. And we'll be talking more about the sponsors coming up on next week's show. We'll probably have Adam back again to talk about it. And we're going to have some of the singers joining on here. Maybe that's what we'll do next week. We'll announce the next singer. Yeah, okay, that's what we'll do. Adam, if you're watching, that's what we're doing. All right, Sarnia Sings, May 2nd, Imperial Theatre. Tickets will sell out. Go get them now. All right, another one you're going to want to get your tickets for, Sarnia Tall Ships. Say that 5 times fast. The Sarnia Tall Ships Celebration is coming to Sarnia on August the 9th through the 11th. And also title sponsors there, the local Carpenters Union and Imperial Sarnia Site is major sponsors in this as well as many other sponsors that are making this happen, including the City of Sarnia, Tourism Sarnia-Lambton. And if that wasn't enough to show off our great city here, Sarnia-Lambton, Blue Water Border Fest is going to be a part of the event that same weekend, but running August 8th to the 11th. Yes, an extra day added this year. We'll have some more announcements of who will be performing coming up soon. Mark Perrin has agreed he'll come back and he'll announce some of those bands that are going to be playing. We'll be doing that soon, hopefully in the next couple of weeks for you. But Blue Water Border Fest, a part of the Tall Ship Celebration. And if that weren't enough, you got to have some art and culture in there. Artscape by the Bay, normally a week later, is bumping themselves up a week sooner than normal to participate with the Tall Ships, Blue Water Border Fest, and Artscape by the Bay, all going to be happening on the same weekend. Nothing to do, huh? There's lots to do, and there's definitely going to be lots going on that weekend. You want to go to the Tall Ships Facebook page. You can go there to find out about ticket information. Their website will be there as well. So you can get those tickets. A few thousand tickets have already been sold for this amazing event. Never know if this will ever come back this way again. Get out there, get the tickets, take advantage of this amazing opportunity. You can go out on the ships, just walking tours. There's going to be sailing tours, breakfast. There's all kinds of options out there, and very, very reasonably priced. I'm super excited to say that I will be on the Tall Ships at Artscape by the Bay. I'll be emceeing Blue Water Border Fest. We'll be Facebook Living. I'm going to be busy that weekend, bringing you the behind-the-scenes stuff. But you can still get the tickets and go see for yourself. Aside from the behind the scenes, I'm going to be busy. I hope I got my own driver. I am going to be around a lot that weekend, and what a great celebration it's going to be. The Tall Ships, along with Blue Water Border Fest and Artscape by the Bay, August 9th to 11th. Go get your tickets for that now. Man, I can't wait for that. I'm so excited. It's going to be here before you know it. Young Professionals of Sarnia are having their monthly connects on Thursday as well. If you're not checking out the Sarnia Sting game and you're a young professional, you can check that out as well. Get all the information by going to Young Professionals or connect on Facebook to get there's going to be live music, and they're going to have some food. There's a cash bar available there. And, of course, Young Professionals Networking. And I don't know if you're Love and Light Expo, the Psychic Expo. I was around this a little bit last year, and I couldn't stay as long as I would. I don't know where I stand on all of this, but if you are into the psychic thing, it's going to be happening at the Donne Club coming up as well this weekend, both days. So get down there and check out that at the Donne Club, the Love and Light Psychic Expo. If you're thinking about going to college and you're not sure what it's all about, well, they're having their annual open house coming up as well. And you can go to the Lambton College Facebook page there to get all the details. I know they're going to be broadcasting. I think Blackburn Radio will probably be there as they are normally. I'll be around there doing some broadcasting, and a full day to get out and discover all the great courses that are happening at Lambton College and all the extracurricular activities they offer their students as well. Check out the new facility, the esports arena. You'll be able to check that out as well. Yes, esports, entrepreneurship, and live streaming, the first of its kind in Canada. I'm proud to say that I'm a part of that, and what a great group that's in there this year for the first esports and entrepreneurship program. So, and there's lots of other things, of course, going on there as well. So check out the open house, and as always, go to their Facebook page to get all the details. I'm having a hard time talking today, and I don't know why. The Relay for Life, Hope for a Cure Bazaar and Craft Sale. A group that's participating in the Relay for Life. They're having their bazaar and craft sale, and that's coming up on Saturday, March the 30th. That's this week, right? Wow, can you believe we're almost into April? Wow, that's this year is going by so fast already. So you can go out there and help support their group, and they're just asking for a $2 Goodwill donation at the door to go in and to see the craft and vendors that are going to be there. All right. And you, of course, as always, find them on Facebook. Yep. All right. Well, Rock for Dimes. What is that all about? If you have not been a part of Rock for Dimes and you love the music, then pay attention to our next guest who's coming here. And this is happening on March the 30th as well, coming up this Saturday. It's going to take place down at BrownStones. And for about, it's been happening 6 years, but now for about our 4th year, our friend from March of Dimes Canada, Dennis Ullman's going to talk to us right now. Let's take a look. Well, March is always special for a lot of reasons, but it's a very special reason coming up this week. It's Rock for Dimes going to be happening at BrownStones, and our friend Dennis Ullman from March of Dimes joining us. Thanks for being here, Dennis.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me to be on your show.
Yeah, you're welcome. I think this is our 3rd or 4th year talking about
it
this.
is. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And how many years has it been for Rock for Dimes in Sarnia? Do you know?
This will be the 6th year for Rock for Dimes.
That's fantastic. Well, you're with March of Dimes, so I think that's probably a name that people have heard of, but I'm not necessarily sure that everybody just really understands what March of Dimes does in their community. So let's talk about that.
Sure, absolutely. Well, March of Dimes Canada, as we're officially called now, been around for about 67 years, and started back many years ago in January as the marching mothers went out to collect dimes to help fund the cure for polio.
Right.
So since that time, we've moved forward. We now have over 20 programs that we offer and help about 70,000 people across the country.
Wow.
And the people that we assist are those with physical disabilities and other types of disabilities. And most recently, in the last couple of years, also reaching out and help providing more support to children as well.
So that's fantastic. I mean, I think that's probably a lot more going on than most people realize with March of Dimes. You talk about programs. There's a lot going on there. What kind of programs are you talking about? Obviously, some housing assistance, but there's got to be a lot more beyond that.
Yeah, we offer a number of programs. We have an employment services program. We have our independent living program, which is really prevalent throughout Sarnia, a number of locations where we have people living in our independent living program. We also have our assisted devices program, whereby we provide support for people who require wheelchairs or to help bridge that gap between government subsidy and what the actual cost is of the item. And that program actually is once again quite active in the Sarnia community with the help of United Way as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So
we also have our outreach program in Sarnia as well too.
Right. And what's that with the outreach program? So what's that?
We go out and we provide support to people in the communities outside of Sarnia.
Okay.
So they don't have to come into the city itself, into the outlying communities, and giving them a hand in different areas with independent living and some other types of support that they require.
Right. A lot of this it's for somebody who needs the assistance of these programs, and with March of Dimes, can happen overnight to somebody, right? Like it can be life-changing, I guess.
Yeah, most recently we've introduced our after stroke program across Canada, our national new branding, and basically it's for folks who've had a stroke, and as you mentioned, their life changes basically instantly. And after going through that life change, there's a lot of need for support and encouragement and helping them with reintegration back into maybe employment again, or just back into being part of the community as well too. Yeah. So that program's really taking off.
What about, here's a conversation that always comes up these days, but what about the mental health side of things for people in these situations? Is that something else that March of Dimes supports?
We don't assist with that directly. Like, for example, our assisted devices program does help to provide devices, and part of the reason we want to get them out of the home is to improve their mental health.
Right.
And many of our consumers also would have, multiple challenges that we would be helping this. We'd work with other groups in the community that do specialize more in the area of mental health.
Right. That was kind of leading to my next question. So there's some collaboration that goes on between you and other agencies as well. I mean, you mentioned United Way, who we're going to be talking to coming up shortly, actually. What kind of the financing? Where does all the financing? Because everybody's got to have money, right? Is this government funded, or is that one of the reasons Rock For Dimes? You've got to do some of your own funding as well.
Yeah, well, Rock For Dimes is there to have our own funding in place. The independent living program does rely a lot on the government funding, but the assisted devices program, for example, is 100% supported through what we call donor dollars. So through fundraising, through United Way, through personal donations. And so the money from Rock For Dimes will definitely be used for that program as well.
Right, okay.
And yeah, I mean, March of Dimes does receive quite a bit from the governments, federal and provincial, but in order to do those other things like the after stroke program, as I mentioned, assisted devices, camping and recreation opportunities, we do have to rely on our donors and supporters.
Yeah. And you say supporters, is there volunteers? Is there a volunteer group that's a part of the March of Dimes?
Absolutely. So, I mean, we have our national board of directors who are all volunteers, but in the Sarnia area, we do have a committee that's actually chaired by Dominic Fernandez.
Yep.
He's the chair of the committee. We've got representation from the city of Sarnia and other volunteers in the community and people who work in the industry, people who would be care providers. And we do meet every quarter and talk about what's happening in Sarnia, what the needs are in Lambton County, where things are going. And we are looking at putting on an opening doors for accessibility on October 29th. We're working with Dale Mosley over at the city of Sarnia. Yep. And Dale's a great advocate to help support people with disabilities.
Yeah.
And on that day, we'll be providing a number of workshops, some influential, inspiring speakers, as well as having vendors available too. So hopefully it's sort of a day of being able to share information and being able to get some new ideas out to people who have disabilities. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too, right? Is and I just had Dale on last week actually talking about their housing fair. Housing would be certainly a specific to the need of what you're dealing with out there. That's got to be limited spacing, or how does that look?
It was limited spacing. We recently put an addition on our Standing Oats conjugate care facility there in Sarnia. There's a growing need for people who need that type of care, so we were able to and still working on the funding for that, but getting the funding in the house has all been renovated now. So
Right.
just working on some money from Regional Health, from the LIN, and helping to make sure we have the money for the care that needs to be provided as well in there.
Right. And what about transportation? That's is that something that March of Dimes assists with as well, or is that just different agencies?
That would be different agencies. We do work to help advocate for the need for transportation.
Right.
And as you know, our good friend Dominic is always getting it out there that there needs to be improvement in transportation. It's interesting. That's one of the challenges we have with Rock For Dimes. Is we have a number of consumers that want to attend, but it's hard for them to get a ride home.
Yeah. Right.
After the event, because if they stay too late, the transit system isn't able to accommodate their needs. So.
Right. Yeah, well, there would be those limitations, right? So there's still a gap that needs to be filled, I guess.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about the Rock For Dimes, the music and the rock, and it's just going to be. I know it's always a busy night down there. It's happening at BrownStones once again.
That's right. Yeah, we're really thankful for John and his staff at BrownStones. This is the 6th year that they're hosting the event for us.
Yeah.
We've got 5 bands performing. We're great to have Zephyr back again this year.
Awesome.
Kyle and his gang are always out there to support us out. And Lise Michaud is with her duo, me and Mr. Smith. They're going to be opening up the evening, which is great. And we have the Shelley Raston band joining us this year.
Yeah.
So we're really excited. They actually performed at a summer Rock For Dimes out at the Ponderosa Resort a couple of years ago.
Oh, okay.
On Canada Day. So Shelley is coming into the city sort of right now in the spring to help us out with that, which is great. We also have Circle the City. And then we have another band called KTG from Windsor, who actually are coming up to perform at the Rock For Dimes in Sarnia.
Making the trip for us.
Yeah.
That's quite a lineup. There's the ones that I do know of, they're like Circle the City and Shelley Raston and Lee. There's going to be a lot of high energy in that room. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting. BrownStones does not have live entertainment there. This is the only night of the year they actually have live entertainment. Yeah. So we actually, last year, as we sold out. It was totally a sellout. We had to shut the door at one point and make sure nobody came in so that we were complying with all the bylaws and everying.
I think I snuck in.
There you go. I think you came in through the back. So as you did that, maybe someone left through their front. We're not sure. Right. But anyway, no, it was a complete sellout. So those who are interested in getting tickets should buy them early because once again, we're expecting a big crowd for this year's event. All
right. And where can they get them? They get them at BrownStones or?
Yeah, BrownStones. They can get them online too. It's rockfordimes.ca/Sarnia.
Okay.
Any of the bands also have the tickets, and we also have them at our office, which is located on Modeland.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. And you're going to be there, right?
I will. Yes. Yeah. I have to make sure the MC behaves this year. So.
Yeah. Who's that?
Oh, some famous guy.
I am looking forward to being able to be my first time MCing for you. So I'm excited to do that. Of course, you and I've had a nice relationship over the last few years, and Dom's been a friend of mine for 20 years. I've known him since before his struggles with MS. Yeah. And
I think a number of years ago, you were a judge at Rock For Dimes. Were you not a judge one year?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. I'm not sure.
If you're like me, if it's 5 or 6 years ago, we don't always remember.
Yeah, so. I'm still trying to remember 9 a.m. this morning, but
there you go.
I'm happy to be a part of it, and for many different reasons, right? I think it's fantastic what's going to happen down there, and a lot of great local talent. I mean, you're very fortunate to be able to have connected with all this local talent, and then some from Windsor. How do you go about seeking out the bands?
We basically, over the last number of years, have been able to develop a network. The first year was always the most difficult.
Yeah.
But Kyle, as I mentioned, has been around for a number of years. And we have had a Rock For Dimes in Windsor previous years. This year, we did not run a Rock For Dimes. And Kyle actually went to Windsor last year and performed at it. And as part of that, he actually was able to develop a relationship with KTG. So nice. He has suggested we bring them up to Sarnia, which is great. And as I mentioned, Shelley Raston, she was performing at the Ponderosa Resort a couple of years ago.
Right.
And Circle the City, basically, we put a bands wanted that out, and they heard about it and wanted to be part of it. So every year we get a couple of new bands that say, hey, I want to be part of it. We've had Dress to Kill out before, performed for a number of years. Kyle and the gang there, and that band's doing really well. They're getting bigger and bigger, almost too big for BrownStones, I think.
Yeah.
But we've been really, really blessed and fortunate to have the bands. As you know, David, the bands play for free. They come out. BrownStones gives us a facility for free. The bands perform for free, so all the money raised is then channeled toward the charity, which is great.
That's 100%. That's fantastic. So they can. How much are the tickets?
Tickets are $20 each.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll get them at BrownStones, and online we'll get all that information, folks, and we'll post that in the comment section of our Facebook page. Before I let you go, is there anything else you want to touch on, Dennis?
No, I just want to thank you for your support. And you asked one other question about how the bands are recruited. A couple of the bands also have, a family member or experience, a neighbor or someone who has a disability.
Right.
So it's another way of them being able to give back and help out too. And so we appreciate the community of Sarnia-Lambton really coming together to rally behind the needs that are here for Merchandise Canada.
It's typically, if there's a heart attachment, some directly or indirectly, right, to all of this, that's usually what helps bring people out. And Sarnia-Lambton it's one of the communities where when the support's needed, they come out there. How many tickets are available?
About 150 tickets are available.
Okay, all right, and we go get your tickets, folks. Don't wait. I snuck in last year and caught the tail end of things, and it was a full house there. So I'm sure that it will sell out again, and all fantastic that it's happening. Thanks, Dennis. Really appreciate you and your efforts as well, and we'll have to share some cheers together on that night on March the 30th, right?
Sounds great. Yes, absolutely.
Right. Okay. Right. Thank you, Dennis.
Take care. Thanks for allowing me to be on your show today, David. Thanks.
You're welcome. All right. Well, as you can see, Dennis Ullman excited for Rock for Dimes, and you can get your tickets down at BrownStones. It's happening once again. Do I just start over? Dennis, thanks so much for joining us. BrownStones, March 30th, Rock for Dimes. Great bands. I'll be your MC for the evening as well. I'm looking forward to spending the time down there for a great cause, raising money for March of Dimes Canada. Dennis, thanks so much, and we will see you down there for sure. All right. Well, also, as Dennis mentioned, they do get some support from United Way Sarnia-Lambton, and a lot of agencies getting support from United Way Sarnia-Lambton. And Executive Director Dave Brown joins us once again to give us an update on they're getting ready to move as well, and an update on some of the monies and things that are happening with United Way Sarnia-Lambton. We talked to him earlier this week. We're going to take you to that interview right now. Take a look. All right, well, joining us for an update, as always, our monthly update, our good friend Dave Brown from United Way of Sarnia-Lambton. How you doing, Dave?
I'm doing wonderful, thanks, David. How are you?
I'm doing fantabulous. Weather, finally, Mother Nature.
Finally.
Starting to feel happy about it. I don't really complain about the weather, Dave, but I'm ready.
yeah, absolutely. I'm not a big fan of the winter. I hate to admit it, but
No.
I'm just not. No.
Do you get to go away at all?
I try to get away for a week someplace hot and that has a beach.
Yeah,
and that's all I care about.
Yeah, perfect. As long as it's warm and there's a beach, I'm with you. I'll go with you next time.
Oh, perfect.
All right, lots going on with United Way of Sarnia-Lambton. Boy, you guys are always busy, and it always amazes me with your small team that you have there,
Right.
how much you're pulling off. What's coming up?
Well, actually, a lot of things. You're quite right. We are very busy right now. 1 week from today, of course, is the move to our new office. But before then is our annual general meeting on Wednesday morning, where we'll hear our reports from our auditor. Every year, you can imagine that we're audited by BDO.
Yep.
And we also have an investment report from our investment person. So Wednesday morning will be a big deal. And then Friday, Capes arrives and starts taking desks apart. And,
Oh, you mean you're not lifting all the furniture?
I have to be out of the way.
Yeah, I hear it. Well, we don't want you hurting yourself.
Exactly. I can't risk an injury.
So you must be well. That's a lot going on. You got to get all the numbers in place and everything ready, and
Right.
And that's important to I guess to the pub. So this is like a report that gets put out to the public then, or
That's right. Every year we're audited by a third party auditor, and then those reports are first presented to the board of directors because it's their responsibility to make sure the money is well used and is used where it's supposed to be, so it's all appropriate.
Yeah.
And then we have to file that same report with Canada Revenue Agency, with the province of Ontario, with the Better Business Bureau, as well as United Way of Canada.
Wow, that's a lot of work. It can't be that fun.
Well, I mean, it's not a lot of fun, although I'm not doing much of that heavy lifting either.
Yeah, right.
But, it's all being done, and it's all in the
important,
spirit of transparency. That's right. We want every donor to know how every dollar was used, and this is the best way to do that.
Yeah. Well, we talked about that last time you were here, the transparency and the importance of people understanding where that dollar goes, not just, here's some money, dude, we trust you. I mean, there is that trust factor there, but it's important for them to understand. And I think I know we've talked about it before, but I think it's important to put out again is the investments that United Way makes as well to help, increase that financial portfolio to keep these programs going, especially nowadays with, the government just doesn't like giving out money anymore, right?
No, that's right. And of course, we're 100% funded by donations.
Yeah.
And special events revenues and whatnot. So you're right. We're getting nothing from the government. So we want to be as transparent and upfront with all of the donors as much as possible. And the key thing is that we are local. I get calls from donors and volunteers all the time asking about this or asking about that, or why did we make this decision? And I welcome the opportunity to talk to people to explain how and why decisions are made.
Yeah. Well, I don't have to tell you, there's never enough for everybody to go around. And I think we did talk last time about those hard decisions that have to be made. And I know there's been a few changes from the last time we talked that are not receiving that typically received. And one of the questions that I got actually from the last time we spoke, and it always comes up in agency conversation, is duplication of services.
Right.
Do you have to, is that part of your process? Do you have to define a line of, well, we're already doing this over here, we don't need to do that again?
Absolutely. We'll ask an agency who's requesting money, what are the duplications in the community, and are they working with that other agency or those other agencies, or how are your programs or services different from theirs? So very much, it's a big piece of our process. And I think you're probably referring to the Lambton seniors, which is probably the most controversial decision that we had to make. And, back when we first started funding them, they were the only folks around that did work for seniors. Now there's Lambton Elderly Outreach, there's Habitat for Humanity, there's the kid down the street who would love to cut your grass or shovel your driveway. But also in that particular case, they don't do a means test. We want to focus on seniors living in poverty so that they can stay in their own homes as healthy and as independently as possible. And the Lambton seniors were doing services to everybody. The first two calls gets the service. So as a result, we decided to, of the duplication, but also the means test, to steer that money towards expanding our Meals on Wheels program, not just in Sarnia, but also in the county, as well as our transportation services, which are becoming more and more important, particularly for those seniors who live outside of the city of Sarnia.
Yeah. Well, interesting. Just before you, I had Dennis Ullman from March of Dimes on the show here, and he mentioned United Way. And
excellent.
Transportation was something that comes up, and we talk about age-friendly Sarnia and all those initiatives that are happening in there. It's got to be tough, though. Because I'm sure when those changes were made, you probably got the phone calls or the emails pretty quickly as to what's happening. But what I like, David, as I've gotten to know you over the years, you really are, when I say you, I mean the United Way is Sarnia-Lambton is really huge on transparency. You had no problem having that discussion. No, in fact, you're right. I had 3 phone calls from donors, as well as 2 or 3 people on the street who just asked me, when I was at the mall or at the grocery store, and they asked, why did you no longer fund the Lambton seniors? We used to get that service. It was a good service. Why didn't you? So I took a few minutes and I explained why and what the decision making process took place and all of that stuff. And when we got off the phone call, 2 of them said, you know what? We agree. You guys made the right decision. And the third person said, well, I can see where you're coming from. I personally just like the Lambton seniors, so I wouldn't have made that decision. But I understand the thought process, and all 3 appreciated my callback
to answer those questions. I was just looking when we were talking about transportation, David.
Yeah.
We've increased our transportation funding for the Canadian Red Cross to $58,000, and we've matched that an additional $58,000 to the Lambton Elderly Outreach for outside of City of Sarnia transportation. So altogether, that's what $116,000 per year for the next 3 years, dedicated to transportation services only.
Yeah, and that's a transportation, boy. It's right at the top up there for people, because even got to go to London for Red Cross drives cancer patients down there a lot. You got to go out to Petrolia because that's where my doctor is, or that. I mean, those are things that most of us, I think, take advantage of daily, right?
Absolutely.
If I only have one car, and if my wife has it, I feel inconvenienced, but it's really not.
Well, if you're of age, you can still drive. I mean, there's a lot of seniors who can't drive or don't feel comfortable driving after dark, or if the roads are at all slippery,
rain or whatever. Yeah,
you have to get to that medical appointment, or to the grocery store, or maybe to the fitness club, or whatever else.
Yeah, you got to eat, right?
Well, and also it decreases isolation. So seniors can get out, and they've got friendships, and they increase that quality of life, which helps our mental health and everything else as well. Yeah,
no, that's important too. I just had this discussion, I don't know, coffee shop, whatever, about often the disconnect of people who we typically, I think, first think of nursing homes or residents or whatever the politically correct term is, but that and trying to stay connected to our community with as simple as social participation, and
absolutely,
and that is a big part of it. So that's mental health is probably something that's approached to the United Way a lot, I would think.
Absolutely. I mean, we fund direct mental health services through Canadian Mental Health, through the Opening Doors program, through the North Lambton Community Health Center, but also indirectly through things like transportation and friendly visiting with the VON and those types of programs that really are important. The other big piece too, and I know the Family Counseling Center, and you've had Helen Cole on in past episodes, they're looking for volunteers for the telephone distress line and TelCheck, where volunteers can work either from the office or I think from their homes, and phone up these seniors on a regular basis to ask how they are, did they take their medication, and just talk about the upcoming Blue Jays season.
Yeah, well, right, anything really. Again, it's typically those conversations and things that we who are not in that position yet take advantage of every day, and then someday they better have Wi-Fi when I go into a nursing home. I'll tell you that right now. Well, you laugh, right? But
I do.
Like,
I hear you.
That's something, right? Like, I'm going to be this year, and if I get to that point, I better have my iPad, or who knows what we'll have. Right?
Well, I laugh because I'd say the exact same thing. We share more than just a common name.
I got to do my show from somewhere this week from my residence. Anyway, yeah, but no, we laugh and jest, but it really is. Those kind of things are important to stay connected to the community, and that's right. Yeah, I know you got a tough job there, but I think you're doing well.
Thank you.
Moving forward, okay, so we talked about you got the AGM coming up, and then you've got your move coming up.
Right.
That you get to stand around and tell everybody where to put things. And
if it was only that simple.
Yeah. But you've got some other fundraising stuff, something going on with Refined Fool.
You're right. We've got, we're looking at the 2019 campaign. We're getting started earlier this year. We're really excited to be a part of the Refined Fools Spring Suds for United Way campaign, right. which takes place on Wednesday, April the 3rd.
Okay.
So right after our move, from 3 p.m. until midnight. It's what they call their charity takeover, right. Which benefits United Way. We will get 15% of all sales on that Wednesday from 3 o'clock until midnight. Oh, wow. That includes bar sales, Burger Rebellion, even merchandise. So if you ever wanted to buy that Refined Fool T-shirt with a 12-pack, that's the day to do it. Wednesday, April the 3rd.
Is that now? Is that happening at both locations, or
no? That's at their new location,
okay.
Which ironically is right around the corner from our new location.
How convenient!
We're really excited about working with them and the convenience of that. It's coming along real nice.
This could become a regular convenience.
It could be, and we're so happy to partner with another local organization that employs local people, and is having an impact on our local community. So we think it's a great fit. We're excited to see as many people as possible. So bring the family out, have a burger and maybe a beer afterwards. And there'll be some United Way volunteers there just talking a little bit about our move, about the agencies that we fund. And then, of course, in the middle of May, we've got our Pasta Fest. And that's going to be at the Dante Club.
Food again.
Right around the corner again at the Dante Club. So we're really making our presence felt there in the new area, that's for sure.
That's good. Well, and you and the guys in the food, I tell you, we talked about that before, but you're going to have to start a fundraising fitness program or something after. Well, right. I know you do the walk up the building thing.
And that's exactly just before Christmas. So work off those extra calories then.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think it's great, United Way for many reasons, but I always like to see that connection to the community, which, I've had this conversation many times, but this community of Sarnia-Lambton really comes forward. And I know you came up a little bit short of your campaign last year, right, but it could have been a lot worse.
Absolutely. And as you know, other United Ways in this province did not fare as well as we did.
No.
Certainly not even in Southwestern Ontario. So we're very grateful to each and every donor and volunteer to bring us to within just $31,000.
Yeah.
And you mentioned investments earlier. We had made some investment decisions a year ago, which actually really paid off. And we ended up with slightly more money this year than we did last year to funnel through to the agency. So we're really excited about that. We're excited about this year's campaign. We're off to it looks like a great start with some of these springtime events. We're going to increase our social media presence and just get more people involved, and hopefully some new employee campaigns, and recreate that enthusiasm of what the United Way and those 18 funded agencies do in our community.
Yeah, fantastic. Dave, thank you so much. I gotta move on, but is there anything else before I let you get back to work?
It's always a pleasure being on the show, David, and we really appreciate your commitment and your support of the community as well.
You're welcome. Great to have you here, and thanks for the update. Dave Brown from United Way Sarnia-Lambton. Thanks again, Dave.
Thank you.
All right. Well, Dave's always got lots to talk about there. Thank you, Dave Brown, for joining us. Supporting a lot of agencies, about 36, I believe, agencies that United Way of Sarnia-Lambton supports. And yeah, some tough decisions get made sometimes. Wouldn't want that job. But your support to the United Way does support multiple agencies here in Sarnia-Lambton. And as Dave Brown mentioned, all the money raised here in Sarnia-Lambton stays in Sarnia-Lambton. So I know that's always that's often a factor for many people when making donations. So check them out online, of course, on their Facebook page, or you can go to the United Way, .on.ca to get more information about what they're doing here in your community. And maybe you've got some ideas or you want to volunteer and help, you can reach out to them as well. Thanks again, Dave, and we'll look forward to seeing you next month. All right. Who doesn't like a little bit of comedy now and then? The Imperial Theatre and Theatre Sarnia getting ready to put on Looking. What could this be about? Dating, perhaps? A very hilarious comedy brought forth by playwright Norm Foster. And we've got a couple of the performers that are going to be talking to us now about Looking and why you're going to want to get your tickets for this. Let's welcome Liz Walton and Marney Austen. We recorded this earlier this week as well. Take a look. All right, well, back to the theater this week. If you like comedy and fun, and well, I mean, the Sarnia Theater always puts on fantastic productions, and this one is no exception. I hear it is hilarious. We've got a couple of the performers here today, Liz Walton and Marney Austen. Thanks for joining me.
Hey.
This is called Looking. This is I've just sort of read a bit of the bio on this. This seems like a comedy that could go any direction.
Oh, it could. And it has.
And it does, right?
Very easily.
Yeah, this is a popular playwright. Norm Foster brings us to the stage.
Mm-hmm.
How did
Correct.
this
Yep.
come about? How did this get chosen to be performed at the Imperial Theatre? Liz, you want to start off?
I have no idea.
Oh,
that would you would probably have to ask the board or the director, Anthony Fracalanza.
right.
I've actually been in Petrolia for a couple of years. I haven't been on the Imperial stage for a couple of years, so this is my comeback.
Right. And what's your role in this? What are you performing?
I play Val. I lost my ear, but I play Val, the divorcee who decides that she wants to start dating again.
Right.
And she answers a personal ad, and Marney plays the character of Nina, who is Val's best friend.
Okay.
And so Val decides to go on this blind date, but she doesn't want to go alone, so she drags her best friend along.
Okay. And how does that go, Marney? Your character.
My character is single. She's a police officer.
Oh.
Yeah, not in the greatest of shape as a police officer.
Okay.
She's never been married. Yeah, she likes her donuts and her coffee. She's never been married, but she encourages her friend Val to look for something. If you're looking, you're looking, and she encourages her.
So this is sort of a dating scene, I guess, in a world of. Does this take place in a modern time, or is this how does this happen?
Yeah.
Modern.
It could be any time.
Yeah. Well, I wondered, like, is there technology involved? Because with today's dating, I mean, do they put that aspect into this?
Well, we do have cell phones.
Okay.
Fairly good ones, except for one of the characters.
All right.
Who has an older version of a cell phone.
Has an older version. Okay, gotcha. So what directions does this go? I know you say it could go any directions, but what kind of things can the audience expect to, I'm guessing this is something that's been put together that the audience could relate to.
Oh, I think
any
so.
generation, yeah. Any generation can. It's relatable. It is relatable. If you're a millennial, you can relate.
Okay.
If you're a senior, you can relate. Particularly if you're a divorced senior, you can relate. You now have to get back on the horse again with respect to dating, and this show covers all those bases.
All right. So you play the police officer.
How you feel about it?
And Liz,
Mm-hmm.
what's your character's background?
I'm an OR nurse.
An OR nurse. Okay. And how many other characters are involved in the play?
There's two other, the two men, the one, the blind date that Val's going on, and he drags his best friend because Val's dragging her best friend.
Oh.
So, and then hilarity ensues.
Right. And what are their characters? What's their background? What do they do?
Matt is the best friend. He is a host of a
storage salesman.
No, Matt. He's the host of a morning radio show.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Matt. Yeah.
And Andy, who is Val's blind date, he rents storage sheds.
Okay. So 4 interesting personalities that are going to come out here. I'm just going through in my head already what kind of things could possibly happen.
Well, we haven't gotten through a rehearsal yet without cracking up.
Yeah. So there's only 4 characters in the whole play?
4 characters, yes. Yeah.
So there must be a lot of that's a lot. If there's only 4 people on the stage, there has to be a lot of focus going on up there, I think, as a performer. Do you find anything challenging about that?
Marney, you want to answer that
one? We experiment with the premise of the show, and it changes. we have to cover a lot of space with 4 characters on stage.
Yeah.
We have to cover a lot of space. You have to, so that can be a bit challenging.
Right.
But you know, I think we're okay with that.
Yeah. Okay.
And how the stage is set up. We've split the stage in 2.
Right. Okay.
So it's, yeah.
So I'm Liz, back over to you. I'm guessing that not one of these characters in particular really stands out and shines. It sounds like they all
do.
They all get their spotlight.
They all have their moments. Yeah.
Yeah. What is it for you? I mean, you've been involved in theater for many years, and you said you were out in Petrolia. Now you're back. What brought you back this way?
The people, the play.
Yeah.
And I love Sarnia audiences. They're absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
Marney has actually been involved in theater a lot longer than I have.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So we have the experienced performers here with us today.
Yes.
What kind of audience can come to this? Is this an all ages thing, or is this an adult humor? What's the audience?
Adult humor.
Yeah, definitely adult humor. Okay. But you talk about the different generations that would get this, like you say, the millennials or the what's the common thing in all of this that makes it so that every generation can pick up on and appreciate and relate to what's going on?
Needing love.
Seeking it out.
Yep. Everybody needs to be accepted, and everybody needs someone to love, and that's really what this show is all about.
All right. So can I assume a happy ending without spoiling it?
Sure you can.
Yeah, okay.
You can assume anything you want.
Probably. Well, you know, Liz, I've had you on here before. You're good at giving me the answers I don't want. Well, and with you folks involved, I'm sure. And who else? Let's mention the other characters. Who else is playing the characters?
Kip McMillan and Ned Courtney.
Right. Okay. And have you worked with them before? Either one of you?
I've worked with Kip.
Yeah.
Ned is our newbie.
Okay.
Especially to the Theatre Sarnia stage.
Right.
So he's basically just been sort of thrown to the wolves.
Right. And did you guys did you initiate him in any way, or?
But we still are.
You still are. Okay. All right. Marney, what's your
Marney initiated it more than anybody.
Oh, Marney. Okay, you're giving him a hard time. Marney, you've been in the theater for a while. What sort of is this a different performance for you based on other characters you've played in the past?
No, it's similar.
Right.
I've been doing theater since 1970.
Okay.
So I mean, the smallest cast I've worked in has been 3.
Right.
So this is a comfortable cast.
Right.
When you work with 3 other people, it's very comfortable and intimate because you get to know each other very well.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say the relationships are growing like on a personal level there. If you only have 4 of you,
exactly,
you spend a lot of time together.
Yeah,
we have
more time than with our families.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we have for this show. We've had rehearsals twice a week.
Wow.
So thankfully, Liz has opened up her home for us, and we've had rehearsals at Liz's house and line readings at our producer and assistant stage manager's home out in Brights Grove.
Right.
So we're always thankful to Theatre Sarnia members volunteering and helping us out.
Well, and I suppose only having 4 in the show. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say it's not just community theater; it's theater community.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and fantastic theater is a word that goes in there. I know I've been following for years now, and there's so much talent here in Sarnia when it comes to the community theater, but it's really a professional theater as far as I'm concerned. You don't have to go out of town, folks, to go to Toronto or something. You can get it all right here, and we've seen that over and over. And Anthony is directing this.
Yes.
Yes, he is.
What's he like to work with?
He's awesome. He really is. He brings ideas to each of his productions, but he allows each individual actor to develop their character and tweaks here and there. And he gives us ideas and
What was that, Liz?
The creativity he lets us flow with it, you know, and if we happen to do something, he'll go, okay, keep that in, that was good,
right?
Or, you know, but it's his vision, and he's awesome. He really is.
Fantastic. Well, I want to thank you both so much for your time coming here, and I know you got the busy schedules between rehearsals, and families got to fit in there somewhere too, and you got to be getting excited. It starts this week.
Wednesday, from March 27th to the 30th, 7:30 p.m. shows, and matinee on the 31st at 2 p.m.
Yeah, fantastic. And folks can go to imperialtheatre.net to get those tickets. Are on sale now. And I'm going to do my best to get down to one of those performances. I haven't been in a while, so I know, terrible, right? So I'm going to do my best to get down there. Either one of you, any final thoughts that you want to mention before I let you go?
Yeah, just also a thank you to Jay Peckham. He's had us to his home as well for line rehearsals, and he's been helping out the guys with character development and lines.
Well, the whole crew has been phenomenal.
Yeah, our crew's amazing. We're very blessed in this community to have great volunteers.
I've heard of him, I think.
I'm sure you.
He's throwing things at the computer screen right now. No,
I'm sure he is.
Jay's great, and you have a lot of people around. It's, you know, when you get surrounded by the right people, great things happen, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Yes,
when
indeed.
you see the show, it's just the tip of the iceberg.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, because I ran into Anthony the other day and I was talking with him, and he's intrigued me you got to get out and see this one. He said it's hilarious for sure. So
it is.
Ladies, thank you both so much. I appreciate your time, and break a leg, right?
Thank you very much. And thanks for having us, Dave.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, you're welcome. Looking starts this week. Go to imperialtheatre.net and get those tickets. Thank you, ladies, both to Liz and Marney, for joining me here today. Funny. It's going to be hilarious from what I understand, talking with director Anthony Frecalanza and a few others that I know that are involved in the production. Down at the Imperial Theatre, starts this week, of course. Go online to imperialtheatre.net to get your tickets for this hilarious comedy called Looking. Liz, Marney, thank you so much for being here, and break a leg, as I said. Wow, that's a lot to get through here, and well, just the time just flies when you're having fun around here, right? I want to thank all of you for watching, and if you can't watch me because you can't stand looking at me, whatever, if you can't watch me, you can take me on the road with you. This podcast, or this broadcast, and all the show's broadcast will be available in audio version, now available on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iTunes, everywhere podcasts are available. The show is now available there, so you can download me and put me in your car, or take me for a walk or a jog or whatever. So I appreciate that. And as always, I'm very grateful to all of you for watching me here today, and I hope you enjoyed my guests. I want to say thank you to my guests, of course, Dennis Ullman, for Rock For Dimes, happening this Saturday, March the 3rd, down at BrownStones. You can get your tickets for that. Then, of course, Dave Brown from United Way Sarnia-Lambton with his monthly update. Do appreciate him joining us every month here. And then, of course, as you saw, Marney and Liz Looking, coming to Imperial Theatre. That's all the time I got for you this week, everybody. Have a great week and an even better weekend. I will see you next time right here on the show live. Bye for now. Woo!